Good morning, Azor al-Chita. So today we're holding the second reading in the portion of Tazria. And we are holding on the chapter 13, verse number 24. If a person in the flesh, on his flesh, he has a fire burn on his skin. And then there'll be a reddish or white baheres on this part of the flesh. Rashi says when the burn healed, the area changed to become a blended baheres, a white and red, a pure white one. The signs of a burn, michvah is a burn, and the signs of an inflammation, shechin, are the same. If so, why does the Torah separate from yesterday's the Torah reading today, to teach us that they did not become combined with each other? While a gris in the area of a bean is the minimum surface of a lesion, for it's deemed to be unclean, if a lesion is a sign of a half a gris emerges in an inflammation, and another sign of half a gris is a burn, they are not judged as through as a full gris. That means, in essence, in Jewish law, you have to have of one nega, one kind of a nega. Two negas don't come together. Two kinds of signs of negoim don't come together to make it a complete nega. You have to have it that it's one sign of one kind of a nega, of a certain kind of a tzaras. Meaning that love and the kohen will look at it, and behold, his hair has turned white. In this nega. And again, it's deeper than the flesh. Tzarasi, this is a tzaras. Michvah tzarasi b'michvah, it's a tzaras spread in the burn. Baracha, v'tima kohen is the nega tzarasi in the turn to make it impure. You don't know how kohen if the kohen will look at it. And there is no white hair in the beheres, in this scab, and it is not deeper than the skin. It is dim. The kohen will lock him up for 7 days. The kohen will look at it to the 7th day. In fasa tifseba, if it had to spread the skin, and if the kohen will see that, he will pronounce it as unclean. It is a tzeras. If the beheres remains in its place, like foster bird, it did not increase in the skin. And it's din. It's basically a physical ailment, so to say. It's a burn. The kohen will pronounce it clean, because it's a scar tissue of the burn, and it has nothing to do with seiras, with leprosy. Verse 29. A man or woman has a lesion on the head, or in the beard. The Torah comes to distinguish between lesion in a place where the hair grows, and leaves a place with flesh. Namely, in one case, the flesh, the sign of uncleanness is a white hair. While in the other case, the hair, the sign of uncleanness is a golden yellow hair. And the kohen will look at the lesion. And behold, its appearance is deeper than the skin. Ubar say it's soft, dark, and the thin golden yellow hair is in this nega. The kohen will make him impure. Nesiku, tzeras, areish, azaka, and this is a tzeras of the beard, or the head of the beard. Now she says it's golden hair, meaning that the black hair has turned golden yellow. Nesiku, the name of the lesion, the tzeras, which occurs in the ear of the skin, the hair that grows, is called a nesek. Verse 31, they got nesek of the kohen will look at the nesek lesion. Being an we'll see that the appearance is not deeper than the skin. And there's no black hair in it. He's got a case of nega nesek shiva, something that the kohen has to lock him up for 7 days. That's just the dust. If there was black hair inside, then he's clean and not require quarantine. For black hair in a nesek is a sign of cleanliness. So, as it says, if black hair was growing there, verse 32, and the kohen will see this lesion. The 7th day after quarantine. And behold, the nesek has not spread. There's no yellow hair in it. And the nesek is not deeper than the skin. Asha says, learn from here that if it did spread, or if there is golden hair in it, he's unclean. It's galach hasanes, and he shall shave himself. But adjacent to the nesek, he shall not shave. He's going to carry a nesek shiva some shame. The king will tell him to quarantine himself another 7. Now she says he shaves around the nesek. It's a nesek le'yagale, so he shall leave 2 hairs close to it around it, in order that if it spread of the nesek, you would see that it went to those 2 hairs that was around the nesek that he didn't shave. That if it spread, it'll pass the hairs and go to the unshaven area. Verse 34, the kohen will see this lesion. In the 7th day, and behold, it didn't travel any further. And also that it's not deeper than the skin. The kohen will make him clean. The tibis be god of bitar, and he'll wash his garments, means he'll go to the mikvah, and he will be clean. Verse 35, but if the nesek spreads in the skin after you've been really clean, Ashley says from here we know only that the lesion has pronounced unclean if it spreads after dismissal. How do we know that if it's unclean, if it spreads at the end of the 1st week of the quarantine and the 2nd week? Because the Torah says pasa yifsa, the double expression. Why does it say double expression? It comes to teach us if it spread, if he was deemed unclean, and if it spread when he was still in quarantine. If the kohen shall look at it and behold, the nesek has spread, the kohen does not need to examine for golden yellow hair because it is unclean and he is humming. Verse 37, but if the appearance of the nesek has remained the same, and actually black hair has grown into the nesek, then the nesek has been healed, he is pure, and the kohen shall announce him to be pure. Now she said, how do we know the yellow white hair which are not golden yellow? Because scripture says, shachar, black hair, which means or if black hair, instead of using the expected or oi, or the Torah uses an inclusive term, which comes to include yellow and red hair in the nesek as a sign of cleanliness, just as black hair. The word sav resembles the appearance of gold. Sav is the same as zav, golden hair. Tarhu v'tirakoy. But he's unclean person who the kohen pronounced clean is not clean. A man or a woman has spots on the skin of his flesh, white spots. The kohen will look and behold, there are dim white spots in the skin of the flesh. Boyaku, it's boyak, pigmentation. Parach ba'ur has spread in the skin. Tarhu, it's not considered a tzaras. Ashes kaher is levanush. The whiteness is not bright, but dim. Now you can understand that you had to have all the knowledge of all these different kind of colors, what is dim and what is white. These were difficult concepts. Boyak, like the whiteness that appears in the flesh of a red man, called ros. between the areas of redness, flesh color, this white pigmentation is called bohak. Just like a freckled man whose skin between one freckle and the other shines brightly with a pure whiteness. Okay, so when you learn the law of pigmentation, people can have spots on their skin that is lighter. It's not considered a tzaras. It's considered a problem with the pigmentation of the skin. But that ends the chumash of today. We'll all becoming dermatologists when we learn this laws of tzaras. We now go to the Tanya of the day. We're holding in the middle of chapter 42 of Tanya. The Alter Rebbe said yesterday that a person has to imagine the Eibush is looking upon him. He's looking mamish, standing upon him. And he's looking at what he's doing. And he's looking into his brain to think what he's thinking. And he's traveling to it all the way down to this kishka, so to say, to see Beichnik Talayas, the verse says, he goes into the kidneys, so to say. Where which the kidneys are a place where one deciphers things, so to say. In his essence, the Eibishter God is looking and waiting for him to think about him, to be able to contemplate in godliness. Alter Rebbe says, I mean, we're comparing God to a human being. God is watching. The Mishnah says, an eye that sees and a ear that hears. That's a demus aguf. How's the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos say that God is an eyes that sees and an ear that hears? This is not the God doesn't have eyes, he's infinite, doesn't have ears. How is it possible for God possesses an eye and an ear, organs that are part of the physical body? On the contrary, this very reason that everything is revealed to him, and there's no to him infinitely more. It's much greater. God's knowledge is much greater than the eye, or shmiras ha'ozen, or the hearing of the ear. I can give an example. God does not. Our eye can blink. An eye doesn't see everything. Because the eye can see things that are not the right things. He doesn't. What is the meaning of this statement? When we say God does not possess any bodily likeness, we mean that he's not bounded by the frailties of the physical body. A physical eye can observe corporality, but not spirituality. You can see only what is adequate light when there's adequate light. It's only up to the given distance and so on. Physical hearing is likewise limited. God's seeing and hearing, however, possesses only the merits of the faculties, but none of their physical limitations. But it goes without saying that any quality possessed by creating beings is surely possessed by their creator. So therefore, why do we express that God has an eye that watches and has an ear that hears? These are limited aspects. The Alter Rebbe says self-understood. It's only an illustration. God seeing and hearing, the fact that everything is revealed to him and is known by him. It's like a man who feels within himself all that is happening. I don't have to have an eye to know that I have a foot ache or my arm is hurting, but that's expression. We know that something's hurting from ourselves. Something that's happening in my 248 organs, whether it's a cold or it's hot, I'm burning, I burnt myself. So I know it for myself. Feeling even the heat of his toenails, for example, as when he is scorched by fire. He feels their essence. Meaning it's not only the person's aware of what's happening to his organ, he feels the organs themselves. And Baruch Hashem, most of us don't feel, because our organs are, Baruch Hashem, doing fine. The second our organs are not doing fine, we feel it. And we feel the pain of that organ. And all that affects them or by them is known to the person and senses in his brain. Why are we not to use his eyes or ears to hear what is happening to a limb in his body, such as the pain of a burning foot or a hand or a foot? He knows and senses it with his mind. That's the mashal. That is the analogy. What does it mean that God sees and God hears? Because we're part of him. It's not that we're separate and he sees. No, we are part of God, feels us because we are created from him. So we are part of him. So to God, he's like one big, everything in humanity is part of him. Like my whole body is part of me. It's a similar manner of knowledge by the way of analogy. God knows all that befalls all created beings, both in the higher and the lower worlds, for one reason. Because they all receive their life from him. So it's from you come all things. So in essence, God, the whole world is like him. He doesn't have to have a camera to look. He has to look at something separate from him. God feels everything in the world because everything is him. He is everything and everything is his. Just the brain, which is a source life, which is the whole body, knows what transpires within it. So too does God. The source of all life knows what's happening with all of creation because he feels all creation. Because all creation is within him. This is what the verse says. No creature is hidden from you. Hidden from you. There's so much old crazy being from him. So how can be something hidden from him? How could something hide himself from him when he gives his life? I told her cannot hide away from me because it's part of me. And therefore, I feel every positive and negative thing that happens to my body. The Eibishter, so to say, feels everything that happens in the world because everything is him. But Shikoso Rambam, as the Rambam writes, the Mamad is speaking as a philosopher, and so to agree the sages of the Kabbalah, as is brought down in the Ramak and the Pardes, etc. How the Rambam explains this concept. The Rambam explains as the Alter Rebbe agrees with the Rambam. And then the Rambam explains, Maimonides explains that the concept of that the Eibishter looks and sees, it's not that he looks and sees something that's out of him. That's the expression of a human being. The Eibishter looks and sees because it's part of him. Everything is part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's why the Rambam writes that the only unity in the world, true unity, is God. God is Echad. He's one with the whole world. And the whole world is one with him. Because they can't separate themselves from him. Nothing can separate from itself because its life force comes from God. So if its life force comes from God, it needs to be constantly connected. And therefore, God feels. And that's what it says. God is looking at you because you're part of him. And when Chas Shalom, I do a sin, God has pain, so to say. If I do a mitzvah, God has nachas ruach. Because he feels everything that's from him. Should be dias atzmei kaviyachol. So to say, by knowing himself, yedeya kol hanevroyim antzayis b'mitzvos imatzei. That's the Rambam. By knowing himself, so to say, kaviyachol, you see the word as it were, because what does that mean? We don't understand what that means. It's expression, it's a Talmudic expression. Dias atzmei, by knowing oneself. By knowing oneself, God, so to say, by knowing himself, he knows everything. He knows all created things, whose source of existence is his true existence. And this is the expression of the Rambam. It comes from God's existence. Our existence is God's existence. God is the existence of all existence. And every existence is in God. So really, our existence is God's existence. Ma'amites imatze. That's the word I want to. In his true existence. His true existence. However, God provides creation of life in a different manner than the manner in which the soul provides life to the body. Soul may garb itself in the body in order to provide it with life. By doing so, it's affected by the body. For clothing implies that the clothed object undergoes a change. God, however, I say that on God, Ani Hashem Leishanisi, is of course not subject to changes when he provides life to creation. You can't say that by God. God only has the positive, not the negative. So a soul that clothes itself in a body ultimately has is confined by the body. That's why we consider gullus. But the Eibishter, Ani Hashem Leishanisi, I'm God that doesn't change. So I am. Why add the true existence? Because really that we don't understand the concept of true existence. We think existence in our mind, in our corporal mind, in our limited mind, we think existence that we can create existence. For example, we make a cup, we make it, but really that's not true existence. Because I can destroy the cup. Or I could have created something else. True existence is something that is there because of God's existence. It's there. It exists. In essence, everything exists within God's existence. So that's true existence, meaning it exists for no other reason. Everything exists because of something else. And that's why it's not true existence. Something that exists because of itself. That's the question that's asked. If God exists, who created God? Right? That's the question. So that's why God, the Rambam says God is true existence. Because he exists because of itself. There's nothing that made him exist. So in the world, everything exists because of something else. I exist because I had parents. If I had no parents, I wouldn't exist. That's the reality. That's why you have to have kibbud avei. Because my existence comes from my parents. I exist because I eat. If I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't survive. I exist, Baruch Hashem, because I can breathe. And if I wouldn't be able to breathe, so my existence is based on another existence. God is the true existence. Is the mitzvah imatze. He's a true existence because he exists because he exists. Not he exists because of something else. He exists because he exists. And therefore, he's called true existence. And that's why he exists forever. Because anything that needs something else doesn't exist forever. As I said, I exist because I eat. If I suddenly, chas v'shalom, Yaakov suddenly cannot eat and drink, he'll stop existing. If suddenly he cannot breathe, not for a person cannot breathe, he'll stop existing. So therefore, it's not a true existence. The Eibishter, the Rambam says, you have to understand, he is the true existence. Because he exists because he exists. He doesn't exist because of something else. And therefore, the Hashem Leishanisi. Even after the creation of the world, the Eibishter exists. That's what we say. God existed before creation and exists after creation. And he doesn't change. Nothing in creation changes him because he exists because he exists. Why did Alter Rebbe write over here that the Rambam? Because there were those who argued and said, you can't call God existence. The Ravid, etc., the Ramban is with the Rambam on this. And they say, don't even call God existence. Don't even express God as a constant of existence. Because existence automatically brings up in the mind something that didn't exist or something that brought something into existence. And therefore they argue. But the Rebbe, Alter Rebbe writes here, that Chassidus agrees with the Rambam on this. That we do express God through existence. We don't express God as existent because we exist too. And there's no comparison between my existence and God's existence. God is the true existence. Because he exists because he exists. If you understand that concept, and why is it important to understand it? Because the point that the Rambam and the Alter Rebbe want to bring out over here is that we should realize that our existence is because God exists. And that's why we exist. So our existence is part of God's existence. However, God provides creation with life, right, in a different manner than the manner which is so God. However, of course, is not subject to change when He provides life creation. Hence, the analogy of the body. So therefore, you can't compare the body and the soul to God in the world. Even though we give an analogy, the soul fills the body, God fills the world. Look, it's an analogy. And no, this analogy is not in reality to this to what you're giving an analogy to, because the soul and the body is self-understood. The body is limited, and the soul is ultimately also limited. But the Eibishter is existence. That means the soul. Actually, you see, the soul lives without the body. The soul gives the body a life, but then the soul leaves the body, and the body dies, but the soul continues to live. The Eibishter, if God forbid, if God would leave the body, so to say, then the world would not exist. Not that the body will disintegrate, won't be existence. It would never happen. So this song, to calm the air, that's expression of God, lishkas ha'ozen, to calm the air, to make it possible for man's ear and intellect to perceive how one may know about something without having to actually see or hear it. So therefore, you can give an analogy to the soul and body, which you don't see the soul, yet you know that the soul fills the body. And why can I see is not because the eye only sees. How does the eye see? The eye is only the vessel. It's the soul that sees through the eye. It's a soul that hears through the ear. It's a soul that lives through the heart, etc. But in truth, however, the analogy of the soul and the body bears no similarity to the analogy of godliness and creation. Why? In Nefesh Adam, because the soul, the human soul, I feel like even the rational divine soul, is ultimately affected by the events that transpire to the body and by the pain by reasons of its rational divine souls, but actually clothed within the deified soul. So therefore, since my godly soul clothes itself in the animalistic soul, so now it's confined by this animalistic body. Meaning the soul which provides the body with physical life, which in turn clothes itself in the body itself. So therefore, when the body's sick, to the expression of the previous Lubavitch Rebbe, he said, a small hole in the body is a big hole in the soul. When the body is sick, God forbid, the soul cannot express itself. It has a harder time expressing itself. And that's when the Torah says you should be healthy. Because a healthy body gives the capability for a healthy soul. So that my soul is affected in many ways by my body. And that's why, ultimately, if my soul is sluggish, if I'm depressed, God forbid, if I'm sick, God forbid, all these things have a direct connection to my soul, my godly soul also, that it doesn't have the capability now. But the Eibishter, God forbid to say God is affected by the world. Because he clothed himself in the world, he's now affected by the world. If you have chas v'shalom, a sick world, God is sick. Chas v'shalom, say such a thing. God is not affected by the events of the world and its changes, and not from the world itself. He's not affected by the existence, he's not affected by the existence, the essence of beings of this world. Because none of them affect a change in him. God forbid, chas v'shalom, nor in his absolute unity. Just as he is one and unified before he created them, so too does he remain one and unified after his creation. My friends, this is important. This intellectual, very philosophical letter concept, which we said in our davening, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. The unity of God. The Eibishter is one with everything. There's no true unity in the world but the unity of God. And the unity of God is not affected by anything in the world. And this is something that the Torah says, Shema Yisrael, hear, O Israel. It's not something that is easily understood, but it's something a person needs to, because that's Emunas Hashem. Emunah of a Jew is in the oneness of God, in the unity of God. That's really the concept of Emunas Hashem. There's actually two concepts by it. Emunah in the Eibishter, which the nations of the world also have. The 7 Noahide laws, they have a mitzvah of Emunas Hashem, belief in God. But a yichud, in the oneness, that's why in halacha, the nations of the world can have shituf, they can have a partnership. And it's not a avodah zarah, separate subject. But a Jew is not allowed to have that. He has to believe in the unity of the Eibishter. The Eibishter is one with this world. And there's a oneness that is not, that's a oneness that no creation in the world can have that oneness. Because ultimately, I cannot be one with you. I cannot be one with anything else. Because I'm a physical entity. And two physical entities cannot be one. It's impossible. It's impossible. That's why the Alter Rebbe writes, it's impossible to have oneness with each other, but only in the concept of seichel. That's why the greatest unity that you person can have with the Eibishter, how the Torah can have kulam. The learning of Torah goes above anything else. Why? Because it's the unity of the brain. The unity of chachma and wisdom. Not a unity in a physical thing. Two physical things cannot have connection. Tefillin, when I do a mitzvah, cannot become part of me. Tefillin is a separate physical thing. But Torah is called lechem. Becomes part of my existence. The unity that's unbelievable. It's the highest concept of unity that I can have with God is learning Torah. Is to learn the chachma of the Eibush, to learn for the right reason, for the wisdom of God. And then you can have a unity that's unbelievable. Yichud Shein Kamayu, the Alter Rebbe writes in the beginning of Tanya, if you remember. The unity, chapter 5, the unity of learning Torah is the greatest unity that a person can have in this world with HaKadosh. The Eibush is not a physical thing, self-understood. Is self-understood in an infinite, God's infinite. And therefore, the Eibush has true unity with the world. And God becomes one with the world, and God is part of him. And therefore, nothing can affect the Eibishter. Nothing can transform the Eibishter, because it's part of him. The body and the soul's not part of the body. The body and the soul are two different entities. There's the body and there's the soul. And therefore, the soul feels the pain of the body. Because they're two different entities. So that analogy to the God also feels the will is not the same analogy. It's only an analogy. Because we cannot compare. The soul feels the body because the body is two different entities to it. Separate entity. But it's only an analogy. That's what the Alter Rebbe wants to explain. But the Eibishter, he cannot feel. He feels the pain because he has a body. He has a world. No, he's one with the world. He feels the world because he is the world. But not that he has, so to say, an effect. That's why the expression is your mitzvahs and your Torah. What do you think your Vedas and your mitzvahs affect me? When you do a sin, Pashat, the Eibishter, that's the difference between the body feels the pain of the soul. The Eibishter wants to feel the pain of an Aveda. He wants to feel that pain. Not that he feels the pain because he has to feel the pain. Because the world is like a body to it. No, he wants to feel that pain. By a person, he feels the pain. Not because he wants to, he doesn't want to feel the pain. Because the body and the soul are two different entities. There's truly not a true unity between the body and the soul. Because ultimately the body, soul will leave the body. The body, you turn to dust. But not the Eibishter. You can't, therefore, it's only an analogy. It's a muscle. But it's not a true reality, it's not a true connection between these two concepts. And to able to understand this well, this, as I said, is a deep concept. With our intelligence, to really comprehend what we just, the Alter Rebbe just said, you have to really learn this many times. Scholars of truth, those who learn Kabbalah, have already treated it at length in their books. It is a Chachmei Emes B'Sifrei. Explanation will follow there. But nevertheless, you can go and learn Kabbalah and contemplate this, understand what this means, understand what the Rambam says existence of God is the true existence, and what it means to me and you, what it means to our relationship with God. As I said, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Understand what that means. Here is the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. What does that mean, that the Lord is one? Go learn it. But nevertheless, until you have ultimately acquired this unbelievable philosophical concept, nevertheless, we are descendants of the patriarchs who believe in God. We're believers, descendants of believers, without any speculation of mortal intellect whatsoever. So even though we've given a seichel, we've given intellect to go and contemplate on this concept, but nevertheless, you're a believer anyway. You have emunah. Don't you say you're davening? You say you're davening. You are the same before the world was created, and you are the same after. So you say you're davening, right? Every day, everybody says Adein Allah. Adein Hashem Allah. But I call you to the Eibishter is not affected by anything. So it's something that we daven with. It's something that we say in our prayers. Why? Because we believe that. Whether we understand it, whether we don't understand it, some of us might never understand it. Because it's really extremely a deep concept. But nevertheless, we believe that. And that's the belief of a year. That's emunah. Emunah, Yisrael, is in the oneness of God. The Eibishter gave you the capability to maybe contemplate it and to be able to understand this emunah. Trust me, if you understand this emunah, you'll have a deeper emunah. You'll have even a deeper faith in God. If you can comprehend this concept as much as your capacity, your brain can handle it. The passage includes, you're the same since the world has been created. Thus, all Jews firmly believe that the world's creations causes no change in God. This Perachah, as I explained before, mentioned before in the chapter 20 of time. So, therefore, we have to comprehend that when we give a concept that God sees, God hears, self-understood, it means much more deeper than God that sees something like a person sees something out of him, or even a person that feels something within him. Real deeper meaning that God hears and God sees is that basically that everything exists from him. Everything exists for him. And he wants to feel everything. And he wants to do because it's all his existence. Not that it affects him, not that it transforms him, not that it has any kind of it makes a difference. It's a forceful difference to him. No. That's not the meaning of the concept. The meaning is the Eibishter wanted. Shema Yisrael Hashem Ekem. The Eibishter wanted to be one with everything, and the Eibishter wants to feel everything, and God wants to have nachas ruach. He wants to have pleasure, and he doesn't want to have pain and suffering. That's what he doesn't want. He's not interested, but not that our actions or lack of actions have chas shalom effect on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as our body would have effect on our souls. The Hashem listens. I'm God. I'm infinite. I'm not affected by anything that happens in this world. Today is the 26th day of the month, which is the second half of chapter 119, the letter Mem till the end of the chapter. If you did that in Tillim, you would have done the chitas of the day. Learn this over again by yourself or with other commentaries, and try to understand this to your best ability. But self-insud, as the Alter Rebbe writes, we still have emunah, and we still ultimately need emunah in this concept. Emunah means above seichel. Emunah means higher than intellect. So even if you understand this, you have to create a deeper emunah in this. So that's why emunah is in Yichudah Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Emunah in the oneness of God is an emunah ultimately. It's a faith. So even if you comprehend it and you rationalize it and it makes sense in your mind, there's still a deeper concept to this oneness. Just the beginning. Because to understand true oneness is very hard for us as humans, because when you say oneness, then everything is one. And there's no difference between anything. It's all one entity. Very hard for a human being to understand that. By a human being, everything has its place. It is higher, it is lower, it is more, it is less, and it's bigger, and it's smaller, and it is happier, and it's sad. It's all one. It's very hard to comprehend such a concept. So therefore, you still have to have emunah. You still have to have faith. And where it comes really hard is self-understood when something challenges them. So sad when there's true trauma and there's true aspect of sadness in the world, and there's the aspect of tragedy. How do we put that in the oneness of God? It becomes even more difficult. Sometimes you have to ultimately fall on the emunah. We have to go back to the emunah, that this is oneness of God. Therefore, example, like what's happening in the world today, you hear, a man who lost his children and his wife at the same time, and he continues to express emunah Hashem. It's amazing. It's really inspirational. Because you need to go to emunah. It's very hard to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to say it's good. And it's the expression of Gemara, Lav kol meich savada. Not all minds can handle this. It's just above and beyond comprehension. It doesn't make any sense. Like the expression we say on Yom Kippur, even the angels scream out to God and say, "This is the Torah and this is the reward." So the Eibush says straight, the Eibush says silent. It's some things are hard for our comprehension, and not everything we don't understand, not everything we know. So ultimately, how deep we can comprehend this concept in our brains, self-understood, ultimately we have to have emunah. We have to have faith that everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything, because there's no existence without his existence. And God is the existence of everything. Whether it's good, bad, happy, unhappy, it's all out of deep concepts. May God bless us all with emunah every single day. I agree with you 100%. I want to wish you a wonderful day. Mid Shem, I'll see you tomorrow as we continue the time.